us from anywhere you're joining us from all over the world. We're excited to have you. Today, we will be focusing on the Hong Kong Global Talent Visa. At least that's what we tag this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. But the actual visa that we will be talking about is the Quality Migrant Scheme, and we will be talking about some other visa opportunities as well. Our coach is already in the room, who is going to be taking us through the journey. She has actually done this journey herself, and so she's going to be speaking from experience. Welcome to eMigr8 Open Day. The session is going to be at least 1 hour, 30 minutes or thereabout, and we will be talking about this particular global talent visa and other opportunities that are available to you as a tech talent. But even if you're a beginner in the room, you've never done anything in the field of technology before, you are welcome, because we'll be signposting you to things that you can do as you start your journey. If you're highly advanced in the field of technology, if you're already qualified for this opportunity, you're welcome as well, because our coach will be sharing a lot of information from the journey that they have had to take over a period of time. And so there's a lot to learn during this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. As I said earlier, could you drop in the chat and let us know where you are connecting from, which part of the world? And if you're watching the replay video later, also you can drop it right in the comment of this video where you are connecting from, where you're joining us, where you're joining from. You're welcome and welcome and welcome to this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. We'll tell you a little bit about what eMigr8 is and of course what eMigr8 is not as well. And then we will be handing over to our coach, which will be the next session, talking about the topic today, Discover Hong Kong's Global Talent Visa. There is no visa called Global Talent Visa in Hong Kong as of today, but we've tagged that because some of you probably know that we've got the UK Global Talent Visa, the Australia Global Talent Visa, and several Global Talent Visas from all over the world. Hong Kong has a similar visa called the Quality Migrant Visa, and then there's also a visa called the Top Talent Pass, and a number of visas that our coach will be talking about during this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. And so you're welcome if you're joining us. Could you let us know as well if you can see my screen? I started sharing my screen a moment ago. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Thank you. I see your messages in the chat. eMigr8 is your tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement. And as I mentioned earlier, we will start by a quick introduction into what eMigr8 is, and then we will go on to the session with our coach, and then there will be a long time for question and answers. If you wait till the end of this session, we do have a gift for you. And so it's in your best interest to wait till the end of the session. We will also talk briefly about one of our new packages, which is called the Settle in the UK as a Tech Talent. And we will also talk about our tech career coaching package as well within the Bincom ecosystem, where eMigr8 is incubated by Bincom. We will let you know. I would like to let you know that we've done several open days, and there are replay videos available, multiple topics: the Australia Global Talent Visa, the Canada Startup Visa, the UK Global Talent Visa, the UK Innovator Founder Visa, the US O1 Visa, the EB2, US EB2 NIW Visa. There are several visa opportunities that we've discussed on this platform, eMigr8, and that is available to you as a member of the eMigr8 community. We encourage you to take a look at some of those videos because some of them you may already be qualified for. And if you are currently working on your application, you should also take a look at that video because many of the coaches that I've shared, some of them are eMigr8 successes, some of them not, but many of the coaches that I've shared on this platform, they've shared a lot of information and a lot of them very useful. Today's edition is going to be focused on Asia. It's our first edition focused on Asia, and we'll be talking about Hong Kong's Global Talent Visa. As I mentioned as well, we do have a package at the moment that we are marketing on the eMigr8 platform called the Settle in the UK as a Tech Talent. And this is something that would be useful for you if you are looking to move to the UK, either as an absolute beginner in the field of technology, or if you're already established in the field of technology as well, you would need an investment budget for this particular package, but you can move with your family and your spouse. So if you've thought that the UK student visa was the only way to move to the UK, think again. This opportunity is available to you, and you can ask questions about it. On eMigr8 Open Days, and we have multiple editions coming up, like the UK Innovator Founder Visa. We'll have an edition of the Open Day focused on that visa. UK Global Talent Visa. In fact, the very next edition of eMigr8 Open Day will be focused on the UK Global Talent Visa. Move to the US as a global talent. We do have an Open Day that coming up talking about that. Canada Startup Visa, French Tech Visa. We have open days coming up around all these visa opportunities. I'll tell you briefly about what eMigr8 is in itself. Because yes, for many of us in this room, you may have been attracted and you may have come to this platform because we talked about one visa opportunity or the other. But really, that visa opportunity is just a side effect of a bigger objective. Because if you are globally attractive, you have options. If you are globally attractive, you have options. And the reason is very simple. Many forward-thinking countries of the world have realized that talent is the new oil. And so they have made visa opportunities available to attract the best of the best in the world to move to their jurisdiction. They're asking you as a talent to come, bring your innovation, bring your ideas, bring everything about you, bring that into our jurisdiction for you to live, for you to work, for you to do whatever it is you want to do in that jurisdiction. You can move in many cases with your family as well. Many visa opportunities. I mentioned some of them a moment ago. And that's what eMigr8 helps you to, first of all, discover and also to qualify for over a period of time if you're not qualified already. And if you're qualified already, one of the things that a lot of people have challenges with is being inspired enough to say, oh, when they say global talent, they are talking about you. And also, if you need to apply, there are some things that you need to know because you need to show to the assessing body that, yes, I'm the one that you're looking for because I qualify based on the criteria that you have put together. All of this is what we help you to achieve on the eMigr8 platform. We do that from two perspectives. One is via your tech profile, but the second is also via a tech-enabled business. So different visa opportunities are available if you are globally attractive. And that's what we focus on the eMigr8 platform. We help you become globally attractive. In terms of our services covers information sessions, general inquiry, coaching and holding, preliminary assessment in terms of do I already qualify, self-directed roadmap towards qualification to say, oh, I would like to qualify over a period of time. Can you give me a roadmap to help me achieve that? Also, if you already have a roadmap, you could also need hand-holding for someone to take you through that journey towards qualification, packaging your application, things like that. We help you do that on the eMigr8 platform. With the UK Global Talent Visa, if you need someone to review to say, oh, I put together my application, but I would like someone to review before I submit, eMigr8 platform can help you with that. You've applied and you got rejected, eMigr8 platform can also help with that because they can help with the endorsement review process or maybe even a fresh application as well. It gets better. Many of the things that we do on the platform, we actually do at no cost to you. We do free of charge. We operate a freemium model. What that means is that many of the things we do, similar to how you use Gmail, and many of us don't pay for Gmail, but some of us do pay for Gmail, a similar model that we run on the eMigr8 platform. And so on the free side, we've got information and inspiration session like this one that you're currently attending today, eMigr8 Open Day. We've got the eMigr8 community, which is free. And the community is available on multiple social media platforms, WhatsApp, Telegram, Twitter, Facebook, several social media platforms where we've got the community, and we encourage you to join and contribute as well. We've got this monthly open day, which is an event we do for the community. As part of you being a member of the community, you get access to this information at no cost to you. We've got several introductory videos and eMigr8 open coaching sessions, some visa-specific office hours, and also you get some short one-to-one coaching at no cost to you. On the premium side, we've got eMigr8 Circle, which is a premium community that we curate on the eMigr8 platform. And we've got several personalized coaching sessions and also specific packages for whatever visa opportunity that you may be looking at. So we've got the move to the UK as a global talent that focuses on the UK global talent visa, which is also known as the technician visa. We've got moved to the UK as an innovator founder, and that focuses on the UK innovator founder visa. We've got moved to the US as a global talent, focusing on the US O1 visa. And recently, we also introduced a package in partnership for the US EB1 and EB2 visas. We've told you before on this platform that if you do have a UK master's, you likely are qualified. If not qualified, you are close to being qualified for the US EB2 NIW visa. And there are reasons for that. There's an open day where we drill down into that, and it's available to you as well. And these are packages available on the eMigr8 platform as well. One of those packages that is new for us on the platform is the Settle in the UK as a tech talent. And is one of the first few packages we've got on this platform that comes with the eMigr8 triple guarantee. That focuses on the global talent visa, innovator founder visa, and also the UK skilled worker visa. And for this particular package, you can actually use it as a route to relocation and settlement to the UK, even if you're an absolute beginner today in the room. And several packages are available to you. We've got the eMigr8 community, as I've mentioned earlier, and also eMigr8 is incubated by a technology company called Bincom Dev Center. Within Bincom Dev Center, there are a number of other services, and I will just mention briefly some of those services at this moment. One of them is the Bincom Global Tech Program. And this is useful for you if you're an absolute beginner in the field of technology and you're looking for an opportunity for you to start your journey in the field of technology. It's built on three key pillars: learn skills, gain experience, and gain exposure in the field of technology. So it's absolute beginner friendly. But if you are at the intermediate level in your skill in the field of technology and you realize that you are missing specific experience and specific exposure, this opportunity is also available to you as well. If you realize that that's where you fall and that's your position as well. One of those is this Become a Tech Talent package. And with the Become a Tech Talent package, it's a 3-month program. It's a subset of the Global Tech Program. And this helps you on a pathway for you to land and start becoming beginner to intermediate and advanced level in the field of digital technology. If you are highly advanced in the field of technology, we invite you to register as a mentor on the Bincom mentoring platform. It is highly competitive. We are not able to bring on board every single mentor that have registered on the platform, but you can register for that platform and you can use that as your pathway. You can use that one of your evidence to show that you are globally attractive, and you can use that as one of your evidence to show that, oh, you are contributing to the field of digital technology. Some of us on the platform will know that this is part of the way that you are able to show to assessing bodies, to countries of the world, that you're a net contributor to their tech ecosystem and also to their economy. The mentoring platform is available for you. Labs by Bincom helps you to build digital products. What we do with Labs by Bincom, it's a 3 to 6 months program. It's a pre-incubator program. And what we do is that we bring you together with 3 to 10 people who are also interested in building a startup. And then we use a lot of resources within the Bincom ecosystem, mentoring, a lot of information for you to be able to start your journey of building a startup from scratch. Whatever you are building with your team, which will start from a fresh idea, as will end up being something that real life users will start using over a 3 to 6 months period. You can use this as practical experience. You can use this as part of your portfolio, and you can even use this for a way of showing how you are globally attractive and how you are building your career in the field of technology. We've got our tech career coaching service as well. This is only available in the UK for now, and we are working really hard to build this into many other economies and many other countries. With the tech career coaching, it's your way of helping you land your next role faster. And what we do is we help you build the relevant experience in your target country. We help you with connection with technical recruiters and people in organizations that can actually recommend you for roles within the organization. We help you with jobs that has work visa sponsorship, or what we call the certificate of sponsorship in the UK. This is also available for you as part of the eMigr8 platform. For some of us in the room, this is the slide that you may want to take a screenshot of, because this slide gives you an interesting lay of the land. So when we talk about tech-enabled visa opportunities, one of the questions that would come is, which particular visa are you talking about? And the reason is because there are several visa opportunities out there that many countries have made available for you to be able to use, for you to show and move to their economy. So if you're a startup founder, you may want to look at the role around startups and look at the UK Innovator Founder Visa, Canada Startup Visa, and so on. If you're a talent and you've already built your skill over a period of time, or you are promising, right, that's also available. Work-based visas, where if you get a job in that economy, you can get a visa to move with the UK Skilled Worker Visa, with the US H-1B1 visa, and so on. So take a screenshot of this slide, and you may want to Google many of these opportunities. But all these opportunities have one lowest common denominator. And the lowest common denominator is this: if you are globally attractive, you have options. And helping you become globally attractive is what we focus on the eMigr8 platform. We are launching the eMigr8 app sometime this year, and we're really excited about the app. I've seen some draft of the app already. The team has done serious work in building that app so far, and we hope that you will find it useful as part of us meeting this objective. And the opportunities we focus on usually would have a pathway to settlement. Usually you will be able to move your family. And even if you're a beginner, you can start planning and you can start building yourself towards being able to qualify. For now, on the eMigr8 platform, we focus on tech and strictly tech-enabled visa opportunities. And for many of those opportunities, we do open days where we drill down into a lot of information and also help you with a way to ask questions around that visa opportunity. This is already available for 2023, and we're already working on the 2024 edition of the eMigr8 Tech Visa Landscape. And that landscape document actually drills down into many of the opportunities I've talked about, some of the ones that you can use as a newbie, those you can use for intermediate, those you can use as an expert, and it drills down into what is at the qualification criteria, what's the roadmap if you need to be able to qualify over a period of time, what's the cost and the total cost, because there are hidden costs in some of these visa opportunities, and then what's the pathway to settlement for those that don't have a direct pathway to settlement in that economy. This is available to you at no cost to you. The team spent a lot of work and a lot of hard work getting this done. And this is available to you as a member of the eMigr8 community. You can use the link on the screen, or you can ask one of the community coordinators that you want access to that document, and you get access to it. If you do not yet qualify for the visa opportunity we are talking about today, which is the Hong Kong Global Talent Visa, what you should be doing is to be building your profile towards qualifying. What we'll be talking about are what you need to qualify. And what you should do is map what we are talking about with what you already have. And over a period of time, plot a journey to say, if I'm a newbie, how do I become globally attractive? If I'm a beginner, how do I become globally attractive? If I'm at intermediate, how do I become globally attractive? And even if you're an expert, how do I become globally attractive? This is what we help you with on the eMigr8 platform. And we've got our coach in the room already. Our coach is going to be speaking about the Hong Kong Global Talent Visa. She'll be talking about quite a number of different visa opportunities, and we'll also be sharing from our own journey as well. And so, Ifunanya, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Ifunanya is globally attractive in many ways, and I hope that if you have questions, please ensure that you drop them in the chat. We want to have the opportunity to ask you to come on stage and unmute today. And so if you have questions, drop them in the chat, drop them in the community. Some of the community managers are on this call already, and they'll be able to pass them to us for us to be able to take as many questions as possible after this session. And so, Ifunanya, you're welcome to eMigr8 community, and thank you for joining us. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. So a little introduction, right? I should make an introduction. So
Yes,
my,
please.
my name is Ifunaya. So this slide that I'm about to present is just a 3-4 PowerPoint slide. Doesn't have any context in it because I'll be taking you through the website so that we can look at the journey together. So
Okay.
my name is
You want to check what you are sharing, though? You are sharing the presenter view. Maybe you want to share a different view of the
Oh,
slide.
oh,
Well, alternatively, you can continue. Thank you.
okay. So hold on, I'm trying to share my screen.
Yeah, we could see your screen. It was just we were sharing presenter mode, so we could see other slides.
Oh, okay. So but can you see me now? Am I still sharing? No, not.
No, you're not sharing at the moment. Yeah, it's all right. You can use the mode you shared before anyway. Oh, yeah, we are good now. Well done. That's sorted.
Oh, okay. Okay, so my name is Ifunaya. I moved to Hong Kong on the quality migrant visa in 2021. I was supposed to move in 2020, but because of the COVID, I had a lot of issues with traveling then. And then I moved first within the first quarter of 2021. And I still reside there. And I'm going to walk you through the visa route of legitimately settling in Hong Kong. Uh, so I've decided to put up this slide, right? Okay, so let me give you a bit history of my background. While I was in Nigeria, I started my career working in the bank. I worked in Guarantee Trust Bank and Access Bank doing relationship management, or what they call investments, as an investment officer. And then after then I moved to Flutterwave, which is a fintech. And then I joined InterSwitch. I started this application in 2018 when I was in Flutterwave, and I just happened to it by chance. I had seen a classmate of mine, a uni classmate of mine on LinkedIn, and his location had changed to Hong Kong. So I was curious. And then when I asked him, he just shared a brochure for me. So that brochure is online. He just gave me a path to make the application. And then I looked at it and I thought it was something I could do because it's a point-based system. So it's point-based. Once you get within the score that they want, they would accept you. So it's very practical and all of that. So that was how my journey started. I started the application. I started the application in 2018. And then, but that was before the protest, because at that point in time, Hong Kong was having a protest with China, and it stalled it, and then COVID happened, right? So that delayed, that stalled the process. And then at that time too, the application was practically manual, in that I had to DHL all the documents that they required. And at every point in time, I think I did 5 to 6 DHL. So when they needed something or they don't have clarification on the document that I've sent, they would send me an email and ask me to dispatch the document, right? So, but now it's pretty automated, meaning that you could upload those documents, and then upon vetting and approval, they will give you the conditional offer, and then you could present the original documents to them. Right. So this first slide, is the population, right? I'm sure that by now you would have everyone here would have Googled Hong Kong, right? But I'm putting this up so that just to make a point, right? Because when we want to travel as Nigerians, right, or as Africans, we usually want to go to the West. We go to the US, we go to the UK, sometimes we go to Australia, even though it's very far, right? And then most of the time we're in Europe, right? So Europe, it's close to the UK, it's and all of that. But Hong Kong it's unique like Asia, right? But again, Hong Kong it's a city. The population is 6.7, and the point of emphasis is the percentage of the population, right? So 92% are Chinese, meaning that you would be a minority in Hong Kong, right? So if you're faint-hearted, if you want if you're not if you're so if you're not used to being alone, then you would struggle. Right. So that's what I usually tell people. And that's my experience with people that have stayed there. Eventually it's very isolating and lonely. right? Because you would be a minority in everywhere. You would be the only African person on the train station. You'll likely be the most, and in most corporate places, you'd be a minority. So people will be looking at you. So that's one thing that I want you to get in mind. So beyond that, it would be a smooth ride. If you really want to work in Hong Kong as a professional. So there are different paths, there are different visa routes to Hong Kong. There is quality migrant visa, which is the visa that I'm on. There is top talent pass scheme. Then most people that I know, most people that I met, the Africans, Nigerians specifically, came there on teaching jobs. And then there is the work transfer or the technology talent admission scheme, where you work, where your employer would transfer you. I've met some Nigerians on that as well, where your employer would transfer you to Hong Kong. So for the technology talent admission scheme would be a tech employer in Hong Kong wanting to get you into Hong Kong through that scheme. So that is for the employers to do. And then there is ISEC. Most people that have gone to Nigerian university or any university in the world would have been accosted to ISEC. It's a platform that allows people to just to intern, right, globally. And then I met someone in Hong Kong that came to Hong Kong by this ISEC route. And then the academics. So academics, I thought to put it because a majority of Africans in Hong Kong are there and they're on scholarship, right? So and the application process is easy and simple, and all this information you could find on Google. So for reference, you could go to Hong Kong immigration website and you would see this. So, but for the sake of this for the sake of this call, I'll be speaking to the quality migrant and the talent and the top talent pass. Every other one you could find on your own. You could go on Google and find there are about 10 universities in Hong Kong, and for masters and PhD level, you would see that the scholarship is automatic, right? So if they don't offer it to you on application, you don't need to make a separate application to that. But if they don't offer that, you could ask them, and most often people get it. And so I would go straight to the quality migrant visa, which is the visa that I'm on. So it's a visa that seeks to attract high quality or talented people to settle in Hong Kong in order to enhance Hong Kong economic competitiveness, right? So there are 2-point-based system, the general point test, which is the one that I took for highly skilled and talented people. So this would allow you to settle in Hong Kong. So initially they'll give you a visa. For when I started, it was 2 years. Now it's 3 years. A 3-year visa where you come into Hong Kong without having a job, right? And then at the end of 3 years, you'll be required to extend the visa for another 3 years. And so this has a path to settlement. It has a 7-year path to your getting Hong Kong permanent residence and getting a Hong Kong passport, right? So the downside in this is not a downside because if you're young, it might not matter to you, is that to get the Hong Kong passport, you have to denounce your nationality. They don't do dual nationality. So you have to denounce your existing nationality. You have to cancel your passport and then to get a Hong Kong passport. And this is, I've seen people that did that and all of that. So you weigh your options and what your life journey is and make that decision. Right, so Hong Kong is relatively English speaking. And they speak English and Cantonese. It was colonized by the UK. So it's a UK colony. So they speak. So with English you can get along. I've been there for close to 3 years now, and I just speak barely, just the Cantonese that I use to buy stuff at the wet markets where the sellers can't speak English, right? But in major stores, you would speak English. And when people there can't speak English, you would always find someone that would be able to interpret for you. And it's like the UK system. Your dependents can work, your kids can go to public schools, and you're not required to do have any health insurance or to do any health check before you come, right? So once they approve your application, you come and they assess you and they stamp your visa, you're good to go. The price is also not as expensive compared to other countries as well. So we'll get straight to the point, right? So how do I get this talent visa? Yes. Can you see my screen? Because I just clicked on a link.
No, we're still seeing the slide, so you may need to reshare to show the browser page.
Oh, okay. So hold on. All right. Sure again. Yeah. So I'm connecting my screen now.
Yes, we can. We can.
Yeah, so I took you directly to the talent. You'll see the talent list. So to qualify to get this Hong Kong quality migrant visa, you would be, it means your skill has to be on the talent list, right? So this is the talent list, right? Are you from the professional? So these are the talents that Hong Kong is looking for. So if you have any of these talents, right, you would be able to qualify. You would be able to start your application. It means you're eligible. Right, so they have business support, they have creative industry, they have development and construction. But the purpose of this call, right, we are focusing on innovation because I understand that we have tech people here or aspiring tech people here. So if we go to the innovation, we click on it, we would see the skill that is required, right? So they're looking at artificial intelligence specialists, they're looking at cloud infrastructure specialists, they're looking at software specialists, they're looking at innovation and technology experts, they're looking at data scientists and cybersecurity specialists. Right. So for the purpose of this call, because I'm assuming that we are tech people, and in Nigeria, when you say tech, it's mostly software. So I'll go to software. Right. So this you could take a picture of the link, right? Because this is public information. You could go and find out. So if you go to the we clicked on the software specialist, right? So it describes the task and the qualification requirement, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree in information and communication technology, computer science, electronic and computer engineering, software engineering, or relative discipline, right? With relevant certification in popular programming languages is an advantage. And having at least 6 years of relevant experience in software programming, software design, database management, right? Front end, and all of that. Track record of relevant experience must be within the past 10 years, right? So this is the qualification requirement. And like I said, this is point-based, right? So part of the things that they consider when they're looking at it is your age, right? But in Asia, unlike in the West, the older you get, the more points you get, right? So within 30, 40, you get a reasonable point. Like I don't know how to I didn't get the point here, but I could find it, right? So and then if you went to when I was applying, if you went to top 100 schools in the world, right, it gives you an extra point. It gives you about 30 points, right? Which helped me because I had gone to Warwick in the UK, which is in top 100 in the world. So that gave me an extra point. And then my friend that had his master's degree in China that also got a visa, that told me about it, didn't get, the university wasn't top 100, but he could speak Mandarin, right? So that gave him points, right? And then because I speak English, I had to testify that through the English test, right? So you have to check that one. And then my level in the organization where I was working, because then I was working with Florida Wave, and then I showed that I was at a senior level. That gave me points, right? So these things are scientific. You would put your points. So when they're assessing it, they're checking that your point is in line with with the skill and the evidence that you're displaying. And once you get that, right? Once you get that and it's within the point base that they want, they would take you, because at the end of the year, they usually do a report of the people that they've selected and the reason why, right? And the country why. So this is it. So once you've qualified for this, right? So you would just go to the Quality Migrant website, right? And then start applying under the tech and as a software specialist, right? So here it describes the job that you would do. And all of that. So it's pretty basic. It's pretty basic. So if we go to data scientists and we click on it, right? It gives you the qualification requirements, right? A bachelor's degree, a master's degree in mathematics, statistics, computer science, and at least 4 years of relevant experience in applying data analytics, right? And something that they did for me too, which I'm sure they will do for most people from Nigeria, is that they have to qualify your certificate to make sure that your undergraduate is the same at the same level with is at the same level with the Hong Kong undergraduate, right? And being that Nigeria is also a UK colony, so it's almost at the same level. But they would ask you to do that. It's just the way that if you're applying for Canada, they would ask you to qualify. I think people usually use WES to qualify your master's degree or your undergraduate degree, or to show that it's within the bachelor's degree or master's degree level that they're asking for. So if you have mathematics, statistics, computer science, right? So what this does is you already qualify as at the skill level, right? And then you would now have to qualify on the point level, which would be your age, the school you went to, and the skill and your rank in the organization and all of that. So you see that this is pretty basic, right? And you could do that for all of them. You could do that for all of them, and it's the same thing. Let me see if I could find the point-based system so that we could look at it together. In the interim, you can ask me any questions that you might have.
For members of the audience, don't forget you can drop your questions in the chat. We won't have the opportunity to unmute during this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. So you simply, if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. I'm sure there will be several. I will also be looking at the community, so you can drop your question directly in the community, particularly WhatsApp.
Okay, so I found it now, and let me share the screen.
Yeah, you're sharing your screen already. We see your screen.
Okay, you can see my screen. Okay, so that's the point based, right? So so for the age, the maximum is 30 points, right? So 18 to 39, you have 30 points. And then you get older, it gets down, right? But I think for Canada, it would be the younger, you have to be, the highest point is usually not, so the bracket is slimmer. But this one, between 18 and 39, you have 30 points, right? Which I'm sure that most people here are. But even if you're within this category, within 40 to 44, it's just 10 points lost, right? And then the academic qualification, right? So if you have 2 master's degree, it gives you 40 points. And if you have a master's degree, it gives you 20 points. If you have a bachelor's degree, it gives you 10 points, right? But like I said, if your bachelor's degree level or higher education is awarded by a renowned institution, right? Which is usually, if you're in the top 100, it gives you an extra 30 points. Right. So so if you have this, it just increases your bonus for you. So this is instructive for people looking for places to do master's degree. You see that the schools actually matter. The schools that you go to matter. And then for the work experience, it has 75 points maximum. Right. So if you have not less than, if you have 10 years and above, right, that gives you 10 points, right? Meaning that for you to have this, you should be older to have 10 years work experience, right? You should be older. So that gives you more points. And then if you have less than 5 years, it gives you 30 points. If you have not less than 5 years, it gives you 15. If you have not less than 2 years, it gives you 5, right? But it gives you additional 15%, 15 points if you work with an international organization, right? If you work with, say, the MasterCard, the Visa, top FMCG, or for investment bank, or for the top 4 consulting companies, Ernst & Young, Accenture, no, I'm not sure, and so KPMG, right? KPMG, PwC, if you work for those companies, Accenture and all of that, any company that is within the global 2000 by Forbes, right? That gives you an extra 20 points. Right, so for the talent list, right, which is what we went to, the list that we went to, right, which is the COCO, right? Additional point if you meet specification of the respective qualification on the talent list, right? So if you meet the specification, that gives you 30, right? So if you are like we looked at the software specialists, so if you meet all the criteria there, that gives you 30. And then for language proficiency, you have 20 points, right? So if you're proficient in both language and Cantonese or Mandarin, right, that gives you 20 points. But if you're proficient in either of them in written, so for English or Cantonese, that gives you 15 points. And then if you're proficient in written and spoken, then it gives you 10 points, right? So to show proficiency in this, you have to use I think in Nigeria you have to use IETLS or something, or Nigeria as or English as a foreign language test. And then family background, if you're coming because I think this is because they understand that Hong Kong is a lonely place, right? So if you're coming with a spouse or a child, it gives you more points, right? If you're coming with if you're coming with a child, with a family member, it gives you 5 points, right? But if you have someone that is already a permanent resident, that gives you an extra 5 points, right? So the maximum point is 245. So this is the A to Z on how to get this. But first you have to look at the talent list. From the talent list, you work it down to this place, right? So I'll stop sharing and then I would upload the slide for the top talent pass. And if you have questions, this would be a good time to do that.
Fantastic, Ifeanyi. Thank you so much for sharing. I was just wondering if you could just spend a few moments talking about the top talent pass, just in passing for people. So I know we focused a lot on the quality migrant one. For top talent, how is it slightly different from the quality migrant? If you could just spend a few moments talking about that.
Okay, so for the top talent passes, it has 3 eligibility criteria, just 3, right? You have to earn, one is you have to earn, it's 3, you have to meet either of the 3, right? One is you have to earn £250 in a year, right? Which is
£50,000.
yeah, £250,000, sorry, £250,000, right? Which is a lot, but if you're in investment banking, if you're a top shot in investment banking, you be making that, right? But I'm not sure we are within that category. Even me, I'm not even within half of that category. So you have to be making that. And then outside that, if you went to a top 100 schools, so there are some criteria, there are some qualification companies that qualify schools in the world. So if you go to a top 100 universities within 5 years, right, or 2 application, and you have at least 5 year work experience, right, that qualifies you. So the essence of the visa is to attract people that have been to top schools. Right, so that's it. So and then the third requirement. So you either have to meet either of the 3. The third requirement is if you've gone to these top schools that is in top 100, and you have about 2 years work experience, right? So that also lets you in. So I know that UK has similar visa program for people that have gone to top schools because when I went to Harvard, I was with my friend that had schooled in Harvard and was considering it because she thought that it was an easier route than the US system as well. So it's a program that attracts people that have gone to top schools. So if you've gone to a university that is top 100 in the world and you have as little as 2 to 5 year work experience, you should check this out and you'll qualify for it. So it doesn't matter if you're in tech or non-tech. So that's the summary of it.
Fantastic. And I'll just remind the community again that this is not immigration advice. It is also not legal advice. This is all simply sharing from our experience, and we're seeking to inform, inspire, and also share knowledge with our community as regards these visa opportunities. Also, please don't forget that on eMigr8 Open Day, we talk about all sorts of countries from the UK, US, Canada, France, and all. But this edition of eMigr8 Open Day, we are focused on Hong Kong, and we're going to be talking about the Hong Kong. I mean, we're talking about the Hong Kong, well, global talent visa as we've termed it, but really it's the quality migrant scheme. And Ifunanya has talked a little bit as well about some other visa opportunities, talked about the top talent scheme. Ifunanya, I don't know if you have maybe a couple of sentences on the technology talent admission scheme as well. I mean, it's fine if you're not very familiar, but do you want to just say a couple of sentences on that one?
Yes, so for the technology talent scheme, it's not so it's not an applicant. Why I neglected that, it's not an applicant induced application. So it's not a user induced application. It has to be the employer. So there are like incubator schemes in Hong Kong, just like in the UK, where when those people need talent and they can show that their talent doesn't exist in Hong Kong, then they can apply for that. So it's not for an individual. So the two individual are the talent pass, and the quality migrant visa. The technology talent pass scheme, it's for employers wanting to attract, right? And the job transfer is an employer wanting to bring you in.
Fantastic. And I'll just say that if you're an employer, that could also be, if you're a startup founder, you could look at something like that scheme. That may be possible. Thank you so much, Ifunanya. You've shared a lot of information so far as regards these different visa opportunity. And I think at this point, we'll be going to question and answers. And so we ask our community, if you have questions, please drop them in the chat. We will take the questions in the chat. We will take questions from the community, and we'll just take as many questions as possible during this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. If now someone is asking around renouncing their citizenship, I know that came up initially in your conversation, that are there downsides to renouncing your citizenship in terms of when you do move. And I think you only have to take that decision after 6 or 7 years, if I'm not mistaken. But are there any downsides there? As we've said, this is not immigration advice. This is just sharing from experience.
Exactly. And personally, I haven't renounced because I haven't gotten to that point yet. So I can only say from what I've heard people that have done that say, right? And they just do that because they need a passport. Because 7 years, you have permanent resident, you're a permanent resident, you qualify for everything that someone that has a passport in Hong Kong qualifies for, right? Only that you can travel with a card. Right. So you need a passport to travel. So when people usually do that, they do that for travel purposes, right? But again, it means that when they have to come into Hong Kong, come into Nigeria, sorry, or whatever country they're from, they have to apply for visa, right? So for some people, it's okay, right? So it means that I know that it could also have some political what's the word now, right? Because if you're applying to become a politician in Nigeria, you have to be a Nigerian citizen, right? But in the case where you denounce it, then that's a problem, right? But that's my understanding. I don't have any personal experience with that.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think you covered it very well as well. Somebody is asking around, oh, okay, someone said, how can I join our WhatsApp group? For every one of the eMigr8 community channel, they've dropped the link in the chat already. But something that you can do as well is that you can simply fill the form on emigratvisa.com. If you fill that form, you will get a detailed mail from eMigr8, and that detailed mail contains a lot of our resources for different countries, links to YouTube video, links for you to be able to book one-to-one coaching sessions, links to pricing, and links to the different eMigr8 communities. WhatsApp is the current best community to join, but with the WhatsApp community, we review anyone that wants to join the WhatsApp community, because we have a number of coaches there who are also there waiting to ask questions within the community, waiting to answer questions, sorry, within the community. If now someone is asking around experience to say, will you be tested based on the experience you claim to have in the field? Are there tests to show that you have the skill really?
No, they've listed the criteria, right? So you have to produce evidence. So for my part, because I was working in fintech and I had worked in a bank, I had to get reference letters from them. Right. And then I was in the commercial part, so I didn't have to do any technology. But I believe that if you applying as a software developer, maybe they might. Right? But I'm not. So maybe they might, right? Especially if it can be documented on paper. It has to, so for them to test it. But in my own case, it was verifiable because I got letters and evidences from organizations where I've worked and all my accomplishments, and I'm non-technical.
Interesting. If not, I don't know, maybe this is a good time to just share around what are some of the things that you submitted for applying for this visa scheme. Would you want to share just a bit? So you've talked about reference letters, you've talked about having to do the test of English, you've talked about a few things, but I don't know if you remember some of the things that you had to do, reference letters, stuff like that. It may be helpful for someone on the call.
Yeah, okay. So when I started the journey, I had a checklist. I opened a Google sheet and I had a checklist, right? Because once you indicated interest, they will send you a list of the document that I have to provide. So I had to provide my undergraduate certificate, I have to provide my master's certificate, and then they have to be verified, right? And it has to be real certificates, not it has to be real certificate. They have to be verified. Because I had worked in organizations as shown in my CV, I had to produce evidence. I have to produce reference letters for all of them. And then because I had claimed that I could speak English, I had to produce an English test of English as a foreign language certificate, right? And because I have said that I was a senior staff at the organization where I was working then, I had to provide the organogram. It has to be stamped by the organization saying that whatever I had claimed was true. And then my academic accomplishments, my trainings, and everything that makes me look good. So the trainings that I took, I had to send a certificate. And then I think that's basically it, really,
Yeah.
right? And I was because so I said I was in a startup. So if I had stock option, everything that embellishes whatever you're claiming, any evidence that embellishes whatever you're claiming, you have to it's in your best interest to submit that for assessment. Right. So most of the time it's better to over submit than to, but again, in this instance, if you under submit, they will request for it and you can upload it. But in my own case, because it was manual, when I under submitted, they will send me an email. And if it were a single document, I have to go to the DHL and post it. So,
Thank you for that, Ifunaya. And what about financial requirements? Did you have to submit like bank statements and prove that you had money in your
yes,
account?
thank you. I almost forgot that. Yes, I had to show that I could live in Hong Kong, that I had money, right? And to show that they would ask for, they will usually ask if you have stock option. They'll just ask for the assets you have. Right? So they'll ask you to evidence that you could live there, right? And how do you do that? Is to show your account balance or your bank statements and say how much it is in their currency or in USD. And if you had stock option for the company and if you had any assets, basically. That's
Oh, fantastic. Can I move with my family? You talked about it already, but that's another question that's come up again. Can I move with my family?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Like I showed you in the form, if you are moving with a partner, it's even an incentive. If you're moving with a partner and a child, it gives you an extra point, right? Because they understand that for going to a new place, you need to cope, and people's coping mechanism are usually family. So you could move with your dependents, and your dependent, if it's a spouse, could work, has could find a job, any job, right? Is entitled as a local to find a job, and you could move with your child. And my child was going to an English speaking school, public English speaking school, so you could do that as well.
Yeah.
And what did I miss? Yes, that's it really.
Yeah. Um, Okay. Anything on Australia for talent visa? Yes, there is the Australian Global Talent Visa. That's what it's called. You can Google it. We've done open days on the Australian Global Talent Visa last year, and so you can find resources on that on eMigr8 community. Welcome for those just joining us. This is eMigr8 Open Day. And as we mentioned, we focus on all sorts of tech-enabled visa opportunities on eMigr8 Open Day. If you do wait till the end of this session, we do have a gift for you. And so it's your best interest to do wait. And if you're watching the replay video as well, if you wait till the end, we do have a gift for you. If you have questions watching the replay video, you can drop the comments on the chat, and one of the coordinators of the community will get to the coach to ensure that they get your questions asked, your questions answered as well. Yeah, so if and I know you are UK global talent as well as Hong Kong global talent. Before we just talk briefly about your UK journey, what do you prefer? So you have significant experience living in the UK, living in Hong Kong, living in Africa, in Nigeria. Could you tell maybe the audience just a bit about maybe the differences or what you prefer or anything along those lines?
Oh, okay. So I'm moving from Nigeria to Hong Kong. People would ask me why did I move? Why did I choose to go there? At the point when I did, right? Because it was during COVID, and people were actually leaving from China. People were saying you're going to China, but COVID is from China. And then I said I wanted to explore. I wanted to do the path less traveled. I've always been amazed at the Eastern culture, and I wanted to see what it's like. So again, moving from Nigeria to the East, so the Eastern culture, to China, which is Eastern Asia, or to Hong Kong, it's similar culture, right? So it's similar culture. There's family values, and since it's a UK colony, and I've been in the UK, it's 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 similar, right? So the only downside, like I said, it's that you're minority, right? On the train, everywhere you are, chances are you're going to be the only black person, and everybody's going to be looking at you, right? So they're looking at you. Some will look at you out of curiosity. They've never seen someone, or maybe they don't see a lot of Africans, right? And then some are just wondering what you're doing, right? So some people are so looking at you just out of curiosity. So if you're able to stomach that, to get used to being stared at, then it's a good place. And Hong Kong is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. So it's like Lagos, and it's like Lagos, but it's beautiful. So it's different from UK. UK is a country, right? So there are different there's countryside and all of that. And then UK is also considered West, right? The Western valleys. So the Western valleys and Eastern valleys are totally different, and and the landscape as well is different. The economies are different and all of that. But even financial services, of course, Hong Kong is in the top four now. It's on the same similar ladder with Singapore, right? Because it's London, it's New York, and it's Hong Kong, Singapore.
Hmm. Wow. Thank you for that. And yeah, so UK Global Talent, how was that journey? I know we're focused on the Hong Kong Global Talent today, but UK Global Talent Visa, how was that journey? And compared to the Hong Kong journey that you went through maybe a few years earlier?
Yes, so UK global journey. So the UK journey, it's great so far, so good. It has a shorter path to indefinite leave to remain, which is 3 years, right? But for Hong Kong, is 7 years, right? And like I said, the culture is different. I'm not a minority in the UK. I'm not a minority at all. I know when I came to Hong Kong, and I was looking for a job because the visa allows you to come and then find a job. Right. And then you only need to show that you've gotten a job when when you're extending your visa. So I know when I was job hunting, and because I'm a commercial person, so it's not like I'm a tech person, or that I was in finance as an investment banking. So my friend, a Nigerian that now has a US passport, that was working in investment banking, he will always tell me, in Hong Kong, you're a minority, right? And sometimes because of diversity, you could get a job. But in the UK, you're not a minority. I'm not a minority in the UK. right? So I see a lot of Africans, a lot of Nigerians, and all of that. So if that is your thing, then the UK is a great part for you, right? So because Hong Kong can be very lonely. So when I'm in the UK, I really appreciate that I see a lot of Africans and that I go to African store and that I have a sense of home, maybe because I also have family here. Right. But again, both of them are great experiences and very diverse experiences. So you can't compare both because they are different, they're different parts of the world, different cultures, different economies, different Hong Kong is very beautiful, right? And I don't know, it's just for me, coming from Nigeria and looking at it, I just had this feeling that I've gotten to heaven, right? So that's the feeling for me.
Yeah, thank you for that kind feedback. I was also asking about the application journey for UK Global Talent. How was that for you?
Yeah, so for Fika Global Talent, it was similar, right? It was not as similar, but it was similar because I had to submit references from places that I've worked, right? And then based on I think the UK was most relevant because I had published reports and articles and had interacted with a lot of organizations, whether it's venture capitalist firms or consulting firms or firms that had interest in Africa. Because in the course of my work, I've interacted with them. So they're able to support my application. I think it was pretty smooth. It was pretty smooth.
Oh, fantastic. So let's go back to Asia. I see a question in the chat around tech opportunity, job opportunity in the tech market in Hong Kong. How does that look like? I know you're in the field of tech, but you've done a lot outside tech as well. So let's talk generally about the job market in Hong Kong and then also about specifically around tech.
Yeah, okay. So because Hong Kong is a very developed economy, right? It's developed. So when they talk about tech, right, they talk about um the tech that we looked at, they're looking at artificial intelligence, right? They're looking at software development, data analytics, and cybersecurity, right? So you don't find the commercial sector, which was what I used to enter, right? So if you have relevant skills, which is why when I went to Hong Kong, I found that I found that I needed to upskill. So I got a scholarship to study finance and fintech, right? And then I'm learning Python and coding. You need to have, if you have a very competitive skill, it's a market where you could make a lot of money, right?
Wow.
So I know some Nigerians that are working in tech companies there, right? I also know some Nigerians that have coming through PhD, was able to get into the investment, to in banking or to consulting firms, right? I still know people that came as students became lecturers, right? People that came that are teachers. So it's the level of your ambition, right? But whatever scale you have, right? Because it's a competitive market. So what pass you in Nigeria would you get enough past you there, except if you have the skills, right? And again, because you're a minority, you have to prove yourself extra hard, right? Because why would they? Because because of cultural issues. But if you're targeting the global firms, right, they will take you because of diversity, right? But if you're looking for smaller Hong Kong firms, you already don't know the language, you already look different, right? And Hong Kong has a very robust work culture, right? So when I came, I was amazed because on Sundays, since the only time the stores close in Hong Kong is during the Chinese holiday. After the Chinese holiday, Saturday, you can't tell Saturday, Sunday apart. You can't tell Monday apart because everything works, right? So that's how they also expect you to work if you're working a company like that.
So work-life balance.
Yeah, so that's the culture, even in the schools as well. It's a culture that promotes work, living for work,
Mm,
right? So on like our culture that says so it's like you live for work, right? But in our culture, you just work to live, right? So
mm,
you work to make money, right? And then you live, you can enjoy, you can relax. But in their culture, you live to work, right? So you can't be idle. So you see people in their 60s, 70s, and they're still working and they're enjoying it, right? And again, it's unlike it's a culture that abhors laziness.
mm.
So you can't say you're tired or something. So you have to. So once you get that dichotomy, right, you see people come in there work and make money, and they say, okay, I now need to go to a place where I can get work and life balance. I can go to a place where I could relax, and then you could find a laid back place and be.
Wow. Well, let's talk to entrepreneurs in the room. I see a couple of members of the community who are entrepreneurs, and one of the questions I suspect they would have is, can I run a business in Hong Kong on this visa? And how is the business landscape generally in Hong Kong in terms of trying to start a business or run a business? But yeah, does the visa allow you to start a business to start with?
Yeah, so the quality migrant visa allows me to start a business or to become an employee, right? So because I've always been an employee, I took the employee route, right? So, but it allows me to start a business or or be an employee, right? So that's for the quality migrant. But the top talent path, it's skewed towards academic achievement and employment,
Wow.
right? So I'm not sure that does. I'm not sure, but quality migrant visa allows you to start a business,
Okay.
to become an employee, right? And then for the business landscape, like you asked, I've seen people, and then because I worked from home, and so most of the friends I have in Nigerian communities that I try to befriend, right? And I know someone, she was a banker, but she was also able to set up a business selling I think cosmetics or something. Like she got government grants. I think in Hong Kong, you always so the government, it's compared to the country where we came from, right? It's a country where the government wants to support everything that you're doing, right? So even for the course that I'm studying, right? So if I took some courses, academic training courses, in line with the course that I already got a scholarship for, I will be reimbursed, right? Because the government wants people there to be up to scale because they are positioning as a competitive economy, right? So if you have a business, most of the time there are government grants for that, right? So because I've heard people that got that in line with their business. So if your business qualifies and you just like so there's also something about Hong Kong. It's like the UK, the system that's transparent. You see the point-based system that I use to show you. So if you meet the points, right, they will qualify you, right? So they don't, so it's so there's no, it's black and white, there's no gray. If you meet the points, most of the time, right, if you meet the points that they want, they will automatically pull you into the system. Because that's how I got there, right? I'm African, commercial background. Someone told me about it. The person too is Nigerian. He got it and I got it.
Another question that popped up is success rate. To say, should I even bother to do this? Right. For some people, they are looking at the West and they are seeing the fact that, oh, maybe Asia is something I may want to do, and maybe as an intermediate route, or maybe as my permanent route of relocating my family to maybe better climes. But the question they have is, should I even bother to try and apply for this? What does the success rate look like? Is it very hard? Or do people get it if they just apply? I find that many people don't even know this existed, but what are your thoughts?
Okay, so for the success rate, like I said, it's point-based, right? So when things are point-based and you fill the form and honest with assigning points to yourself, you automatically know whether you qualify or not, right? So it's not, there are no gray areas. So those points, your A grade, your qualification, your academics, so it's 245 maximum points. So let's say they've decided, I think they have a website where they publish the list point that they have, which is usually 90, right?
Hmm.
Between 90 or 120, right? So because at 120, you already have 50. So let's even say we do 50%. So if you scored 120, you know you got 50, right? But if you're close to 150, 180, then that's A, right? So you're getting closer to. So once you do that, it's easy, right? And then my experience speaking to people, Africans that I met in Hong Kong, is they consider Hong Kong a transition place, right? They consider, so some students or some people, and I would usually tell people that would borrow money, sell their assets to school in the West, right? You could get a scholarship to school in a good school in Hong Kong, right? And if you school in the top three schools, that gives you an automatic visa in the UK because they have a similar visa route. If you school
Yeah.
in the top three schools in Hong Kong, that is within the top 100 schools in the world, right? It gives you a pass Once you graduate, maybe with a job, without a job, it gives you a path into the UK. Right,
Yeah.
so that's it. And then for people that like to go to Canada, right, and once you get a master's degree, it gives you more points to qualify for Canada, right? And this master's degree, 99% of people that are there is on scholarship, right? Because once you qualify, you get it, right? So some scholarship tuition based, some they also pay you for the PhD, they pay you stipends. But so for some master's degree, they also pay you stipend as well, which is about £1,000 a month. Right. But you know, when you hear this £1,000 a month from Nigeria, it's a lot of money. But you now have to consider that when you get to Hong Kong, the cost of living is high, right?
Yeah.
Rent is high and all of that. But people have a way of finding more affordable accommodation, living on that money, even sending money to family members back home, right? So
Wow.
it will be dependent on your stage in life. If you're young, you could say it's a transition place for me, right? You could, if you do well academically and you get a good job, it's a good place, right? You could say, okay, I could stay here. And then, so the good thing about it, which is what I tell people, is once you're in a developed country, it's easier to move. Right? So once you've established yourself in a developed country, in the UK, in the US, and whatever way, it's easier to move to another developed country than when you are coming just from our background,
Yeah.
right? So you have to put a lot of things on that. You have to check a lot of points for you, and then make up your mind.
Yeah. And I hope the community is listening because what Ifunaya has actually said is if you are globally attractive, you have options. A route could be the Hong Kong Global Talent. A route could be Hong Kong. And one of the options she mentioned multiple times is the fact that you could get a scholarship, full scholarship that is, and they may even pay you additional stipend if you decided to school in Hong Kong, focus on some of the top schools, because one of the specific visas that she mentioned that could move you to the UK is the UK High Potential Visa. You need to have schooled in one of the top 50 schools in the world for you to qualify for the UK High Potential Visa. And there are at least 2 universities in Hong Kong that is on that list of top 50 schools in the world. So there's several options out there for you, and that's part of what we wanted you to be aware of during this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. But back to the Quality Migrant Scheme, Ifunaya, how long did it take, and how long does it typically take? I know yours was during COVID, so it was slightly longer, but how long does it typically take for this?
Yeah, I'm assuming it to be 3 to 6 months, right? Because now things are automated. And the things are submitted, meaning that the decision will be faster, right? Because when I was posting, you have to provide for the days it will get to DHL, and when they will sort it, and then it will get to the case manager,
Oh,
right? But if it's automated and you have to upload things, and then it's shorter, right? So it's within 3 to 6 months. It's a system that works, and they keep you updated, right? That's the thing. They keep you. I know when I was in Nigeria and I would worry, I would wake up in the night to call them because of the time zone. Right? So if I wait to wake up to call them, they would be. So I wake up in the very early Nigerian time to call them, and they would give you updates. And then they assign a caseworker to you, and you can exchange emails. It's open, it's transparent, it's and it's free. You don't pay anything when I started. You don't pay anything until they actually qualify you.
wow, I didn't even know that. So it means that for some people in the room, you can actually move this year if you start today, right? For some people in the room, and maybe that's something you want to explore further, right? And nothing stops you because the first thing you want to do is just check based on the eligibility criteria, which is available in public domain, and you can do your own calculations to see what do you score, and maybe that's something you want to take a look at. I will come back to you in a moment. I'm just going to share a couple of slides for eMigr8, and then we'll come back to you in a moment. When we come back, we'll be asking you a question, which is a question we ask every coach within the eMigr8 platform. And the question is around you speaking to the 5 category of audience that we do have in the eMigr8 community at this point. First category are people who are absolute beginner in the field of technology, right? Because our community is mostly focused on tech at the moment. Second category, intermediate level people. They have a bit of skill. They have some skill. They've been in tech for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. They are still at the intermediate level, and they are trying to figure out what should I be doing next at this point. And they are looking at, of course, tech-enabled visa opportunities for relocation and settlement. Third category, highly advanced people, experts in the room, 10, 12, 15, 20 years of experience in the field of technology. Fourth category, people who are in different countries of the world, not their own country, but they are not on a pathway to settlement. So example are UK students, not on a pathway to settlement or post-study and so on, but there are several people from different parts of the world. We would like you to speak a bit to them as well. And finally, people who are ready to apply, what would you say to them? But that's right when we come back. For the audience, thank you for staying with us in this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. There were two things we mentioned that we're going to do. One of them is that if you waited till the end of this session, you would get a gift from us. And this is the gift. You get access to a free one-to-one session at no cost to you. It's a short inquiry session in eMigr8, but you get access to one free one-to-one session because you've been part of this eMigr8 community and this eMigr8 Open Day at this point in time. For you to claim that prize, and you're only eligible for one of that prize per person. So don't say, oh, I've attended multiple open days, so I qualify for multiple one-to-one session, just one per person. But for you to qualify, what you need to do is to go on the eMigr8 community, any one of the instance. And any one of the instances, so it could be WhatsApp, Telegram, and all, and just declare in the community to say you are part of this open day and you have won yourself a one-to-one session. Somebody, one of the community administrators will be able to let you know how you can book that session. Before you book the session, though, please ensure you have done your own research. Don't waste that session on asking questions that you can easily Google. We expect that you will have done your research, you will have gone through this open day, and you will have watched several open day sessions, if as much as possible. You will have Googled all of this information that they've talked about. You will have done a lot of external research. And by the time you're asking questions from the coach, you're asking questions that you couldn't find on Google. You're asking questions that are unique to your circumstance. So please ensure that you make the best use of your time and the best use of the coach's time as well. So congratulations to everyone on the call for winning that and for staying on this call so far. I'll also just talk for a moment around one of our packages on the eMigr8 platform, which is for the UK, and it's called the Settle in the UK as a Tech Talent. It's called Settle in the UK as a Tech Talent. And this is one of the packages. It's a premium package, so this is not one of our free packages. We do have free packages on the eMigr8 platform, as I've explained earlier, but this is one of the premium packages. It's called the Settle in the UK as a Tech Talent. And it's for you, whether you're a beginner in the field of technology or you are advanced, you're an expert in the field of technology. This package is for you. For this package, we focus on 3 key visa opportunities at the same time for you as the individual: the UK Global Talent, the UK Innovator Founder Visa, and the UK Skilled Worker Visa. With the UK Global Talent Visa, you need to show yourself as globally attractive in the field of technology. With the UK Innovator Founder Visa, you need to build a startup that is qualified as innovative, viable, and scalable. And for the UK Skilled Worker Visa, you need to land a job in the right occupation code that will be able to sponsor your certificate of sponsorship and also hire you for a role within that. And what this package does is target your profile for all 3 at the same time, but with the eMigr8 guarantee. The eMigr8 triple guarantee basically is that we earn most of our fee at the point of your success. And so you can move with your family and with your spouse and dependent. This is better than the likes of the UK student visa, we believe, because if you're looking at a pathway to settlement and relocation, you can move immediately with the ability to work full-time in the UK from day one. As such, you're not looking for another pathway to settlement. And if you're already in the UK, this is also works for you if you're looking for a pathway to settlement. You will need to have some time and available for this, a minimum of 3 to 6 months, minimum 3 to 6 months time is what is needed if you're looking at this package. And of course, there's an investment budget you would need as well for this particular package. So if this is you and this is something that you feel like would be useful for you, you can send a message to any one of those numbers and somebody on the eMigr8 community will get you started with more details about this package. Welcome once again to everyone for joining the eMigr8 Open Day, and welcome to the eMigr8 community for those that are joining eMigr8 community for the first time. Don't forget that we talk about all sorts of visa opportunities on the eMigr8 Tech Visa platform. And with the eMigr8 Tech Visa platform, we've got the community, we've got the regular open days. We have the eMigr8 Visa app launching very, very soon. We're really, really excited about that. And if you would like to help us test the app, because it's in development at the moment, about to be launched soon, you can let us know within the community to say, oh, I'm interested in helping you test the eMigr8 Visa app. We believe it's going to be a game changer in the landscape and it would help your journey. We spoke about our eMigr8 packages, and we spoke about the fact that we are structured as a freemium platform. We do most of the things we do for free, but then we charge a premium for some services as well. So if you're interested in the open days, in the free communities, they're all available for you. In the community, we encourage you to ask questions. We cannot answer those questions in real time, but we will answer your questions eventually. And other members of the community can also answer your question, and you get to learn from each other, from people who are also invested in a similar journey as you are. But if you are looking for something a little bit extra, we do have the eMigr8 Circle, which is a premium community. It's subscription-based. You subscribe on an annual basis, but it gives you a little more access to some of the eMigr8 coaches. And we do have packages that are available to you as well. We showed this landscape, which is to show all sorts of visas that are available to you within as a tech talent. Different visa opportunities are available to you as a tech talent. We showed that earlier. And what we want you to do is maybe take a screenshot and take a look at all of these visa opportunities. You will notice that Hong Kong that we spend most of today talking about is not even listed, right? But there are several visa opportunities across different parts of the world, right? From the UK to the US to the Canadas and France, Germany, and many countries of the world. All of them are looking for the top talent. And so ultimately, they are not doing you a favor. They know that if you move to their economy will be better off because you yourself, you're a global talent, you are a global tech talent, or you are a promising talent, even if you're an absolute beginner today. And so that's why we think that you should spend some time doing your own research, taking a look at those opportunities that are available to you. It will surprise you how many people do not know about many of these opportunities. And even worse is people that know, but they write themselves off automatically to say, oh, they're not talking about me. Global talent, how can it be me? And the truth is that you are probably already qualified in some cases, or you can plan your journey to be qualified over a period of time. And so that's available to you. And eMigr8 platform is available to help and coach and direct and guide along these lines. Many of the coaches on the platform, they genuinely want to help. We are limited by time, but we genuinely want to help. And so with that being said, I will be coming back to you, Funaya, as we are rounding up this session of eMigr8 Open Day. And what we are asking is just that question I asked earlier, and then we'll come to your final word, which is, do you have any advice for members of our community who are beginners in the room?
Okay, so for beginners, I would say one of the ways to comport yourself as a beginner is to upskill, right? So in terms of Hong Kong, you could you could apply for scholarship and study whatever. So if you're in tech, you're already you're in software, you could do a master's in computer science, right? And like I said, you would likely get a scholarship, right? So that's it for people in beginner. And then for people that are in the entrepreneurial stage, I think I remember that. You could as well. Hong Kong market is developed, but if you look at other Asian countries like Indonesia, Philippines, there's similar market like Nigeria, right? So if you're able to develop anything they're able to develop in when I was working in Hong Kong, I was a director at OP China, and we're also exploring moving some services to those part of Asia, right? Philippines, um, Philippines. What are the countries now that have not Taiwan. Okay, well, I think Thailand, sorry, Indonesia, right? Some of those countries, Vietnam, they have similar markets with Nigeria in terms of development and all of that. So whatever solution you're creating for Nigeria, if you read it up, you'll see that it can scale in that market as well. And if you have a hub in Hong Kong, then it's easier to scale because they usually have regional hubs and regional agreements and all of that. And then what other people do you?
Advanced people, intermediate people, and advanced people in the field of technology. So intermediate are 5 to 6, 7 years. Advanced people, 10, 15, 20 years in the field of tech.
Yeah, okay. So for intermediate, so if you look at the skills and if you look at the skills and you qualify, right? It's an easy application so long as you can document your experience, right? And then for and then for advanced people, I don't know, I had worked for a long time before I came, so I would consider myself advanced. And then when I came, I still found the need to upskill, right? Maybe because I moved as a commercial person. I don't have software skills, even though I'm trying to acquire that now. But if you already have that, then that doesn't that's so we're not in the same category, which is what I tell people. We're not in the same category. So it means you already have a skill that all you need to do is now start applying, right? It brings you in for 2 years. You don't have to, you're not compelled to get a job, right? Like to get an employer to sponsor you. So you could now start looking for jobs. You could start working for yourself, right? You could get an employer. You could work as an employee. You could start a business. And I'm sure that in 2 years you should be able to have got into the system so that you're able to extend your visa, right? To extend your visa for another 3 years. I think now it's 3 years even. So in 3 years, you should be able to have comported yourself well enough to meet the requirements for visa extension, which is basic. If you're an employee, you show that you're a senior person where you're working, you pay your tax, and you have because you do your pension. Right? Because people have to pay their pension themselves. You pay your pension, you pay your tax, and you show that you're a senior member in the place through letter of employment and your bank statement, right? So it's pretty straightforward.
Wow. So those are three categories, tech people specifically. Now, these other two categories, one is people that have moved already, but they are not on a pathway to settlement in the countries they moved to. Do you have any advice for them? Not necessarily just Hong Kong now, but just general advice for them in terms of they're a bit anxious to say, I only have 1 year left on my visa, I only have 2 years left in my visa, and I'm not quite sure what I need to do next. Do you have any advice for them?
I don't know. So I think for global talent, for the UK global talent, it's pretty straightforward. So if you're already in the UK, you have 1 year, but you don't have the skills, you're not working in the organizations that needs to give you a letter, or you're not positioned well enough, right? Then you could miss that in 1 year with the coaching of eMigr8 and all of that. But you could make that in 1 year. Right, as when you meet all the terms and conditions and is able to position yourself, you could qualify for that. But again, what I would say, even though you said don't mention Hong Kong, is if you're in the UK and you're getting stranded, right? Most people will usually pay more to do more school, right? But you can go to a place where you don't pay to do school, right? If you have high chances, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but you have high chances. And if you scatter your applications across schools, across 5, 6 schools, by the grace of God, because everything is God dependent, right? You get one that gives you a scholarship, right? So you're not paying. But again, unlike the UK where you could get care jobs, in Hong Kong, that would be difficult. You could get jobs at restaurants, security, and all of that, but I've really seen an African that does care, right? Because it's also cultural. So they have people from Philippines and Indonesia, and there are less privileged countries doing that for them, right? So the cultures are different, but you're getting a free education, and you could see from the quality migrant that if you have a double master's degree, that gives you more points, right? I think if you're doing, I don't know if that is the same case with Canada or other countries, but so if you're having another master's degree, instead of especially if you don't want to go home, right? Or you want to have a PhD, but in the UK you have to pay for it. In Hong Kong you also get scholarship and you get stipends. Right, so that is, and I'm like emphasizing that because a lot of our people don't know about it. Until I went there, I didn't know about it. So the reason I'm actually studying, right, was because when I was speaking to all the students, the 99%, it's only one person, that one Nigerian that I met that paid the school fees. All of them on scholarship.
Wow.
All of them be on some kind of scholarship.
Oh, wow. I'll just give you a moment to catch your breath, and I would say we're having the last final words, and the last category are people that are just about people that are already qualified, looking to apply. Any advice for them? But I'll just say thank you to everyone that joined in this edition of eMigr8 Open Day. We hope it was informative to you. And if it was, we ask that you do give us feedback. Let us know if this was useful. Let us know if this is something we should continue. Let us give us that feedback because it helps us to continue spending time, relationships, and all of that on these sessions. So do let us know. But in addition to that as well, join the community. We can continue this conversation in the community. Ifunanya, thank you so much as well for joining us. Do you want to speak to that final audience ready to apply, and also maybe final words to the community generally?
Yeah, so for people ready to apply, the information I shared you could find online, right? But again, I understand that sometimes you will need guidance, especially for people that have done that, which is why you have organizations like eMigr8 to help you, right? To help you with the processing and gathering your document and making sure that everything that all the document that you're presenting, it's would meet their criteria. I think that's it basically. So the process is pretty easy. I got there. I know someone that got there, and I can't wait to see you in Hong Kong. I would really love to see you in Hong Kong. And for the community as a whole, I don't know, I'm just meeting you today, but confident Buddy has been doing great jobs trying to prep you and all of that. I understand that people want to, out of whatever ambition, people want to leave their background to get to somewhere else and thrive there. And that is actually possible. Like Buddy kept saying, you need to make yourself globally competitive, right? So what helped me when I moved to Hong Kong, I knew that I was commercial in a commercial category and that I might not find a job, right? But when I was working, I was saving. I started working at the peak of global recession in 2008. So every facilitator that came to speak to us told us about saving. So I was saving money. So I had some savings that I could rely on, right? But also because I was also very, what's the word now? I was considered a thought leader on LinkedIn, right? So I was writing articles, writing reports based on my work experience, right? And people were already consulting me for that and paying me. So I knew that even if it took a while to find my feet, I knew that I could live on that. I knew that I could live on my savings. And I knew that I could do whatever it takes legally to be able to find a place, right? And sincerely, by the time I even moved there, the person that told me about the opportunity was now mostly staying in Nigeria and doing business, right? So I didn't know anyone. When I landed, I didn't know anyone there. But the grace of God has kept me. There's a robust African community there, corporate and the people that are trading. So you will find your fit. So first you have to make up your mind. You have to be willing to pay the price. Because for everything that you give, that you get, you have to be willing to give something. You have to be willing to pay the price. And I think pray about it and leave the rest to God. But I've seen people that succeeded, right? Which is reinforcing my decision to go there. I've seen people that succeeded. I speak to the Nigerian community that are my friends. We've kept in touch, and from sincerely from my experience, none of them are wanting to leave. Right? It's that good that none of them are wanting to even go to better places.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much for those candid thoughts. Ifunanya, I think this has been really, really useful for the community. And look at the time, we're so far over the time we had said for this session. So that's really interesting. And as I said to us, members of the community, and also Ufuna is helping coaching us today. I ask that do let us know, was this useful? Did you learn anything today? If you did, could you drop it in the community? Could you drop it in the chat? Could you drop it in the comments of this video if you're watching a replay video, just to give us feedback to let us know if this has been useful for you. This is eMigr8 Open Day, and eMigr8 itself is focused on tech-enabled visa opportunities. And this is just one of those reassurance of what we've always said on this community, to say, become globally attractive. If you are globally attractive, you will have options. There are several different options available. Different countries have different criteria. But if you look at all of those criteria joined together, you will see that the common denominator is be globally attractive. If you are globally attractive, they want you to come to their jurisdiction. They give different incentive. For the UK, you may be 3 years or 5 years to ILR in permanent residency. For Hong Kong, 7 years. There are differences like that. But at the end of the day, if you are globally attractive, you do have option. And one of those options that you may want to consider is Hong Kong, either as the final destination, as was said during this conversation, or maybe as an intermediate or intermediary destination towards wherever it is that you're looking to move to later in the future, because you are globally attractive. And if, of course, if you do choose to stay in your own country as well, that's also absolutely fine, as long as you are globally attractive and you can go anywhere you want to go at a snap of the finger. Thank you so much, Ifunaya, for joining us today. And it's been really, 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 really informative, even for myself. I wouldn't call myself an expert, but I think I know a lot around this sector. But you've actually opened my eyes to quite a number of things that I wasn't aware of, even as an individual. And so thank you so much for that. And thank you for sharing your journey with the community as well. We'll see you all at the next eMigr8 Open Day. Thank you, everyone. Wishing you the very best in your journey.